Hi guys, my name is Larry and I'm one of the original founders of the Texas Car Guys. So I wanted to start a YouTube channel with people who drive cars that are not so ordinary, especially here in Texas. And I have a few in my collection, which I'll do several different videos in the days and weeks to come. And I thought in the meantime, I would also hit some of my friends with some of their cars, everything from Cobras to 2005 GTs to modern day 2018 GTs and other cars. So today I wanted to really talk about my Porsche 987S. I originally ordered the car in about June of 2005, I think it was. It took 7 months to build, and it was a very interesting process, and perhaps I can talk about that a little bit later in depth. But basically I went to the dealership and spoke to a good guy by the name of Roger Gay at the Porsche Momentum, and I said, I want to build a special car, and it's not going to be one that I'm going to find on the lot. So after about 8 hours of going through different options, bam, this was delivered in January of 2006. So this is not just any ordinary 2006 Porsche Boxster X. Actually, I affectionately refer to it as a 987S X. So it was upgraded suspension, upgraded chips, lowering, deeper dish inset rims for the car, oversized rims, tires for the car, and a few modifications in the computer as well too. In the interim of having driven the car, it's been totaled not once, not twice, but 3 times actually. The first time happened in, I think it was January of 2009. A freak rainstorm came in, flooded the area I lived in, and the car had about that much water, about 2 inches of water in the floorboard of it, but it was enough to ruin the computer. This car is very special to me. Out of all the cars that I do own, this was the first. Not exactly the first, but it was the first of many to come. And so basically I wanted to rebuild the car, so I fought with the insurance company on totaling it, and in the end I replaced the computer, which sits up underneath the butt of the driver, and $3,001 later I had my car back again. In the interim of all of that, oddly enough, the dealership messed up and I got into a fight with them. So I knew insurance was going to want to total the car, and I knew I was not going to allow that to happen. So the dealership offered what they call a stop loss. And so the stop loss basically means that they pull the entire interior out of the car. They thoroughly clean it multiple times, set it dry, oil it numerous times, the leather, and then when the car's ready, put the interior back together. Well, I authorized it for $1,000 with the dealership, and they failed to do that. So the car sat there for about 3 weeks with that much water in it, and so there were serious molds. So in the end, I got a new top, new seats, new dash, new door panels, new carpets, along with the padding and a lot of other things, and a lot of cleaning. And I can actually say, here it is now 9 years later, and the car has no errors or no glitches, that I should say. In 2015, I was hit pretty seriously, and I really thought that was the end of the car. But thankfully, I took it to a really good body guy, and the car runs perfect, and I run it at very high speeds actually. Speaking of high speeds, I really set the car up to run at high speeds, and I wanted to be able to track with it, do driver's educational events, and just have fun in the sun on a really pretty day. And so, which I do quite often, drop the top on it. So we got the car fixed for about $12,000. And since the car was approaching 10 years old at that time when the accident happened, I decided to have the whole car painted, not just the back end of the car. Sad to say, in early 2017, I had the car out at the track one day, and I wasn't feeling too well, and I let a friend of mine drive the car, and that was the last time the car ran with its original motor. So it had locked up due to a boy, my mind just went complete, a hydraulic failure. So in the end, it started a long odyssey. At one point, I was looking at doing an LS3 swap into the car, and found a mechanic and sent the car off to have the LS3 put into the car. And it wasn't the motor so much that was expensive, it was actually all the plumbing work that had to go along with it to make it fit. After about 2 months at the mechanic, he decided he didn't want to do the work, and actually, come to my surprise, hadn't even started. So I went back to the drawing board and did a lot of research all across the United States, and I found a mechanic, Vision Motorsports, in Laguna Hills, California, and he offered basically a Carrera motor, a 4.0, and with some few upgrades, of course. While we were there, we put an X51 power plant into the car as well too, and the car drops now 483 horsepower at the rear wheels, so it's now affectionately referred to as a sleeper car. In the interim, I still track the car and love it today, and it's, out of all the cars that I've owned, it's probably one of the more cheaper cars that I do own, but it's probably my most favorite car. It's a daily driver for me. I track it, I do autocrosses, driver's educational events with it, and some days I just drop the top and just let my hair blow in the wind. So in the end, this is my 987S X.